Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to very easily and very quickly pick the best DTE, date to expiration, on the covered calls that you are selling, and how to pick the best strike price at that DTE, okay, for the basic cover call strategy. All right, let's get started. Okay, first thing you want to do is go to a free website called Stock Options Channel. All right, stockoptionschannel.com. It's a free website. It's very informative. It has lots of information that I don't use. Well, let me show you what I do use it for. When you're looking up option chains and you want to see what the DTEs are available and what the strike prices are, and more importantly, what the return rate is on your investment, okay? It's something that you need to know when you're selling an option, a covered call. How much money am I making? How much return am I making? So for this example, let's try Apple and see what we get. Okay, so I'm going to type in Apple, hit enter, and as you can see, it pulls up this chain of expiration dates. It's a little different format than what you see in most places, but it shows all the expiration dates, how many days it is until expiration down the middle, and then you got calls and puts. Okay, we're doing covered calls, so we're selling calls. So what I like to do is go and look here. Let's just say 15 days out. Let's see how much I can get on my money. If I was to buy the stock right now at $280 and sell the out of the money strike at a 2-week interval, right, 15 days, I would make 32.9% on my money. Now that is annualized, okay, so it's not, you're not making 32% instantly, but if you were to do this every 2 weeks for the course of the year, then you would make 32.9%, 97% return on your money. That's what this means, okay? Now, obviously, you can't do this every 2 weeks because we don't know what this option price is going to be. It's going to vary. So this is going to vary too. That's why I like to check it. Now let's back out and check the next one. Say we want to go 30 days out, okay? 29 is what's available. Let's see what the 29 days is paying. Well, at a $285 strike price, it's only paying 19.97. So you're going to ask yourself, do I want to tie up my money for 30 days and make 19.97% annualized? Or do I want to tie it up for only 2 weeks and make the 32% that I can make if I do this? Well, depending on your time and your schedule and your lifestyle, some people may choose the 2 weeks, right? I want to buy it or sell it every 2 weeks and keep making this kind of money, where someone else, such as myself, might say 30 days or even 45 days. Let's take a look at the 45 days, see how much it goes down. Now you see, typically the further you go out, the less return it's going to pay. And that is when you're buying the stock and then selling the call at the same time. This is when this tool is helpful. Now you go 45 days out, well, gee, you can tie up your money for 45 straight days and still make 19% for all that entire 6-week period. That's not bad. That's a pretty good return, okay? So you would have to decide as a stock trader, hey, what is it worth to you time-wise? Do I want to make the extra income, do it every 2 weeks? Well, you know what? Let's go a little crazy and say, well, how about 1 week? Some people do 1 week. It's an 8-day. Well, gee, then you're making 37% annualized, but you have to sell that option every week. And what happens is 1 week you might get this return. The next week, if the stock goes down, you're not going to get as good as a return. You're gonna get less. So some people like to tie it up for 6 weeks, lock in that decent return. Other people like to gamble a little bit and go shorter time frames and take the big return and hope they can keep doing it. So that's something you're going to have to decide as an individual. But this is a website that's really great for making that easy for you. All right, let's move on. Okay, the next example I want to show you on how you can use this stock options channel is to check the return on investment when you are not buying the stock at the same time as selling the call. Let's say you bought 100 shares of Apple a month ago. You sold a covered call. It expired. You kept the money, and now you're selling another one. Okay, and now let's say the stock had went down. Sometimes when this happens, the out of the money calls further out in time pay better than the closer ones, right? The example we just looked at, the 1 week and the 2 week paid the highest rate of return. That's not always true, okay? Sometimes when the stock has gone down, it's below the cost, the price that you paid for it. You have to sell further out to make a decent return. Let me show you how that works. Let's look at an example right now of 15 days. Let's just say you bought the stock at 200, and we'll just say you bought it at $300, okay? and you want to sell a covered call. Well, if you want to sell a covered call, you got to sell one strike above what you paid. That would be 305, where you're only going to get on a 2-week, you're only going to get 1.13% return annualized. Not a very good return. Okay, so you're probably not going to want to do that. You may still want to do that. It's only for 2 weeks, and you can wait and see if the stock recovers. But let's just say you bought it at 300, you want to sell at 305. You're not going to get a very good return. So if we go back and we look, well, gee, I like to go out as far as, I'll go 50 days if necessary. I don't really like to. I'll go 45 is pretty standard for me. Right here, we got an opportunity to go 43. Let's see what that does. We're hypothetically saying we bought it at 300. Well, we can go out to 300. We can sell it at 305 for 120. Okay, again, it's not a huge return like we were getting. Not back when we just bought the stock. And the stock, we sold it exactly the same day. We were getting, 20 to 30% return. Well, when the market crashes, sometimes that's what we have to deal with, is market crashes or downturns. And when that happens, we get what we can get, and we be happy. Okay, that's part of stock trading. That's part of options trading. You're going to take this 3.63%, and you're going to be happy because you're collecting that. It's money in your pocket. It's yours to keep, guaranteed. You wait for the stock to recover, and if you bought a dividend stock, which I always recommend people buy dividend stocks, you're collecting the dividend at the same time. Now let's just see what would happen if you went out a little further. You can go out to 78 days if you want. Say the market's crashing and you think it's going to take 12 weeks for this crash to complete and start coming up again. Well, gee, I'm going to wait it out by selling 78 days out. Well, if I do that, I'm going to get, now I'm going to make 7% of my money. Hey, to sit and make 7% on your money during a market crash when everybody else is laying in bed staring at the ceiling wondering if their money's ever going to come back. Well, if you bought a good quality institutional stock such as Apple, you're pretty certain it's going to come back. You also know you're going to get a dividend because you strategically are scheduling your options around dividend collection, and now you're getting another $4.35 over the next 78 days while you wait for the market to correct. All right, so that's a big bonus to selling covered calls. You're making money while everybody else is struggling. The market's crashing. They're losing money. You're still pulling in income. Okay, you have the opportunity to pull in income consistently all year long. Okay, now if you're not happy with this type of income, there are ways where you could sell still here and still make the big money. Those are more sophisticated strategies that I'll start posting videos about down the road. But for right now, this is as good as it gets, right? The market crash, we're going to keep our money coming in. We're going to go 45 to 78 days out if we have to and keep the money flowing. All right, hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. If I'm saying something that's not clear, I'll be happy to clarify it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment purposes. I'm not telling you to go buy Apple stock and sell an option against it by any means. I'm just telling you these are things that can be done. Okay, if you want to hear more, subscribe so you get my updates. I'm going to post more and more videos on how you can take advantage of stock options and covered calls.